Welcome to episode 276 of The Corner of Knit and Tea. My name is Laura. I'm also known as Fluffy K on Ravelry, Fluffy Kira on Instagram and Twitter. I blog over at thecornerofknitandtea.com, which is where this episode and every episode show notes will be. I have an Etsy shop called The Corner of Knit and Tea, where I sell my handspun yarns. And we have a Ravelry group called The Corner of Knit and Tea. If you haven't come over and joined us, please do. Hi, how are you? It is Tuesday, May 5th, which makes it my 42nd birthday. I am now the answer to life, the universe, and everything, if you are a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy fan. It is a quiet day for us. We are still in stay at home until the end of this week, and I suspect we'll be staying at home quite a bit longer, even if our city regulations ease up just a bit. So I am a day late recording the podcast because yesterday we had a huge thunderstorm that knocked out all of our power. And so I had no power, no light, no nothing yesterday for most of the day. The power got knocked out about 11:45 in the morning, and it was restored to us about 8 o'clock in the evening. We are fine. The weather was mostly fine. We just had a thunderstorm with high winds and a hailstorm, and our power is actually underground, so we think maybe a transformer got knocked out, and I was super pleased at 8 o'clock when it came back on. I had thought we were in it for a slightly longer haul. We had already gotten ice and put food in the cooler, and we were actually able to cook dinner last night because we have a grill on our patio and we still had some propane left. So we grilled things up last night, and we really did not suffer much at all. I was just worried about how long it was going to go on, and of course, it got dark, and and it was pretty dark yesterday because of the storm, and it got super dark during the storm. And so there just wasn't much light to record by, and even if I had recorded, I still wouldn't have really been able to upload it. So I do apologize for being a day late, but forces were conspiring against me, so you get me today. I hope that you and your families and friends are doing well. Like I said, we are in, I don't even remember which week. It's probably 7 or 8 at this point of staying at home. I work from home normally. My husband has been working from home since about March 15th, somewhere around there. So we are moving on close to 2 months. As I said, some of the cities are easing restrictions as of Monday, May 18th. So that's a couple more weeks. I guess Friday is May 10th. So yeah, it's 2 more weeks. And Friday is May 10th. Friday is May 8th. Friday is May 8th. So Sunday is the 10th. I'm really bad at time right now. It all kind of runs together. Anyway, so we are moving forward somewhat. We are still staying in. We do a grocery run once a week, and sometimes we go out and pick up takeout curbside. But that's pretty much what we're doing. We're staying inside, staying safe, flattening the curve. And I hope that you are as well, and that you, and as I said, that you and your families are safe. I have been doing lots of knitting. I have lots to show you this week and to talk about, so let's jump right in. Today for the tea, I am drinking something new to me. I got for my birthday from my boss this cute little box from Tea Drops, and it is, that shows you right. And it is teadrops.com, and what it is these are little bits, drops that you can drop into your tea. And what they are they're organic pressed teas put together with some spices and some organic cane sugar. Everything is organic, and so you just drop it in your tea. So what happens is you get this little packet that has a little tea drop in it. This one is citrus ginger. And so the ingredients are listed as organic raw sugar, organic orange peel, organic ginger, organic spearmint, organic orange extract, organic lemon extract. They are gluten-free. They are caffeine-free. It has 30 calories, so not too much. And so it is it just comes in a little shape. Mine was like a little flower disc. And I just dropped it into my cup, and it says the sediment will settle at the bottom of the cup, and the rest is drinkable. So that is what I've got today in my Stonehenge sheepy mug. Ooh, and that is really nice. It's just a light sort of lemony orangey ginger. So the box that I have, I believe is, well, no, it's not all caffeine free. The box comes with a bunch of different flavors. This is rose Earl Grey, sweet peppermint, citrus ginger, matcha green, and blueberry acai. And then there was also a chocolate Earl Grey included as a sample, and it just comes with this little packet that tells you what's in each one and shows you the little steps of boil your water, throw your tea drop in the cup, and let it do its magic. So that was good and kind of a fun birthday present. So that is what I'm drinking today. Let's go on to the knits. I have a finished knit, and although I have been remiss in taking photos, I was sort of supposed to take photos over the weekend, and I sort of procrastinated at it, and then the weather was terrible yesterday, and today it's sunny and windy, and so I'm waiting maybe for like the 5 o'clock golden hour to go take some photos. But I have finished my painted bricks shawl, and actually it occurs to me that I have not woven in my ends. There are 4 ends, 2 for each ball, and so you'll just have to deal with those, but it is washed and blocked, so that's all I have left to do. This is a pattern by Stephen West. It is one of his more recent patterns, and it is combinations of a garter stitch and slipped stitches, garter, stockinette, and slipped stitches, which almost look like bricks and mortar. And what I did with mine was I wanted to use 2 gradients, so I used Freya fibers. Hang on, I've got the tags here. I used Freya Fiber Fine Hand Paints in her Merino Ombre Lace, and I used 2 colors. Those are, they come in 75-gram balls, and that is 712 yards, 100% cruelty-free U.S. Merino. It is 2-ply. Her lace weight is 2-ply. And so I used the colors Hard Candy, which is kind of the rainbow, and Cloud, which is the gray. So my shawl goes from yellow and kind of a light silvery gray through green, blue, purple, and ultimately magenta, and I go from silvery gray out towards charcoal. And as you can see, it creates a really, really nice gradient effect. Modifications, I did not do the final sort of chevron section of the shawl. I knit the pattern as written through the semicircle, and then when it switched to the chevrons, I continued following the sort of semicircle pattern as prescribed. Stephen West shawls are very much like that, where you can sort of figure out how you would keep going if you want to make them bigger. And I went until I basically finished the gradient. The other thing that I did, and I can't remember if this was in his finishing instructions or not because I didn't actually look because I didn't do the last section of the shawl, is I did the final sort of garter stitch section, you know, the mortar between the bricks, and then I did an I-cord bind off. And I did the I-cord bind off so it would lay flat because with just the 4 rows of garter stitch, it was kind of flimsy, and I was afraid it would flip up, and usually if you do an I-cord bind off, it holds better. So this is my shawl. It is huge. It is way more than my wingspan, and I hope I will get lots of good use out of it. This is probably how I plan to wear it, and I will take some great photos for my Instagram and project page, and I could not be happier with the project. As far as yarn, I won at Yarn Chicken. This is all I have left of the gradient cake for the pink, and I'm sure I could not have even, well, I might have been able to do 1 more row, but only 1 more row. So I certainly ended wisely there. And then I still had some of the charcoal gray left. My guess is 10 to 15 grams of the skein. I'll have to weigh it. I have not weighed it yet. Best guess for the shawl is that I had about 1,400 yards. My best guess is that I used about 1,300 yards, and I probably have about 100 yards left over here. But I am not upset at all that I stopped when I did. I made the right call, did not have to tink back, which was fabulous, And I am so pleased with this. I just, as I said, I need to weave in the ends and take some photos, and then I plan to wear it, although it is getting warmer here, so I may not be wearing it a ton right away, although it is fun and bright, and I just love the way it gradiates through the shawl. The shawl was easy, fairly easy to follow, well written. Stephen West writes lovely patterns, and the yarn itself was beautiful to work with, and there's a lot of just one more row, just one more section to get to the next set of the gradient. So I am super happy with this, and that is now a finished object. So I have two other projects to talk about. The first one is one that I sort of talked about and showed you last week, and that is I am knitting another sample for Zen Yarn Garden. I did not bring the tag with me today, so I am using their Superfine fingering base, which is 100% Superfine fingering merino. It is Italian merino. It is absolutely lovely and squishy, and I am working in some of their Metropolitan Art series, which they put together for Vogue Live in New York for 2020. And the two colors that I am working with, those yarns are inspired by paintings at the Met. And so the colorways that I'm working with are the Dance Class by Edouard Manet. Not Edward. Degas? By Degas. The Dance Class by Degas. And that is kind of a multi that has tones of tan and kind of a minty green and some red and some lush browns, or kind of coffee with milk, cafe au lait browns. And then I am also using frosted teal, which picks up a little bit of the mint in this colorway. And the shawl that I am knitting is the shawl that Casapinka released for Local Yarn Store Day, which is called Breathe and Hope. It is now available for sale on Ravelry, but she offered it sort of as a fundraiser to Yarn Store Day. Local Yarn Store Day was Local Yarn Store Day was an event sponsored by TNNA, which is the National Needle Arts Association, which actually, unfortunately, has now suspended operations as of April 30th. You can go to their website to read more about that, so I don't know what will happen to Local Yarn Store Day. Normally it is in the spring, and it was originally scheduled, I believe, for April 12th of this year. But because of the coronavirus pandemic, they decided to reschedule it for the fall, hoping that we will be able to shop our local yarn stores then. Casapinka had already designed a shawl pattern. She has done shawl patterns for the last several yarn store days, and what she does is she makes the pattern available for free at the yarn store with purchase of yarn. So she does it sort of as a benefit to yarn stores, kind of a fun special giveaway, and usually later on she provides the pattern for sale, so it's not entirely exclusive, but the way to get it for free would be to go shop at your local yarn store. She decided, since she had already worked up the pattern, that she was going to go ahead and release it, and yarn stores who wanted to participate could participate the last weekend in April and put together kits, and with the purchase of a kit, give the shawl pattern away for free. I purchased a kit, and actually I didn't bring the yarn in with me. I'll bring it in when I'm ready to use it. I purchased a kit, so I got the pattern, and then I talked to Roxanne at Zen Yarn Garden, and she decided it would be a nice idea to do a shawl in it. So she selected these two. She had sent these to me, and I have started working on the shawl. The shawl is an asymmetrical triangle. It starts at a point and moves through to end at a wider point. It is designed to use 2 skeins of fingering weight yarn, and I am working on size 4 needles and size 5 needles, I believe. The reason you work on 2 size needles is because the shawl is a variety of textures and patterns and color work, and so some of the portions of the pattern are knit a little bit tighter and some are knit a little bit looser to overall try and give your fabric a kind of symmetrical gauge throughout, or similar gauge throughout, so that your shawl doesn't gather and, pucker or any of those kinds of things. Mine still puckers a little bit, but I think once I give it a good block, it will be okay. So I have worked on the first, I'm in the middle of the fourth section right now. The first section is some striping and a little bit of brioche. And with your two colors, as you can see, I've got my frosted teal and the dance class in there. The second section is, or the third section actually, is columns. So you are working in mosaic to create small columns of your two colors, so you can see the two colors slightly better there. And then section 4 is more brioche. So I'm working on section 4 right now, and the shawl has 10 sections, so I still have a ways to go, especially since I'm still at the small end of the shawl. It increases as you work through. I don't want to give away all the secret sauce. I am, as always, enjoying working with the yarn, and I'm loving seeing how the colors play next to each other. I am enjoying some of the textured sections. I have to admit I'm not enjoying all of them, and I love Casa Pinka's designs. I love how they look when they're done. I am still trying to gauge my tension on this column section to make sure that when I go back into brioche or other sections that it will be the same. And as you can see before I block it, that section is a little bit narrow and I'm having some puckering. So I'm finding that just a wee bit frustrating. I don't know if I'll knit this pattern a second time or if I'll pick something else for my other kit. But I do enjoy the color play between the colors. And I think this is kind of a fun design. I think I will really enjoy the shawl when I have it. I'm just a little nervous about how it's coming out. And of course that's just heightened because when I do sample knits, I want them to come out perfectly. When it's myself, I'm frustrated if it doesn't come out quite right, but I'm also not as worried about when I have to deliver a finished sample. So that is what I'm working on. You'll see pictures of it on my Instagram, and I will continue to work on this as pretty much a focus piece for the next week or two because it is a sample. So, but I do love, the colors are subtle, but I do love the way the colors play together. So that's kind of your best bet. And I have some photos too. I think it's washing it out a little bit on the camera, but that's because I just see the camera screen. So I don't know if it will look better on your monitor. So that's what I'm working on there. My second project that I'm working on is actually a new cast on. It's an odd time right now with everything going on, and so I am not keeping to all of my regular knitting habits, I guess you could say. You do know that I love to cast on, and I often cast on 3, 4, 5 projects, but then I usually work through them all to completion. And what I am finding is that I am casting on a ton of things, and some things hold my interest and some things don't, and so I am moving in and out of projects, and I'm casting on a lot more than I'm finishing, although I am finishing some. But so I cast on another project this week, and it was one that I had been thinking about casting on for a little bit, and I already had the yarn for it, and I did have to purchase the pattern, but I had the yarn in my stash, and I decided that I wanted to cast on for a Weekender by Andrea Mowry, who is Drea Renee Knits. The Weekender is kind of an oversized, comfy shawl pattern, and I wanted to make it out of some yarn that I had in my stash from when I went to Rhinebeck. And those of you who have been with me for a long time will know that I turned this beautiful yarn into a cardigan after I went to Rhinebeck. And the cardigan did not get much wear, and I thought about giving it away, but then I decided I really, really wanted the yarn to turn it into a sweater that I loved. So I went ahead and frogged the whole sweater back to yarn balls, and this had been sitting in my stash waiting for the right pattern. And I actually had another sweater in mind for it, but I just sort of all of a sudden got a wild hair that I wanted to knit a kind of comfy, cozy pullover sweater. So this is Spirit Trail Fiberworks, and it is their Zalti base, which I believe is 100% merino. I believe it is not superwash. I do not have the tag anymore. I will put a link to it in the show notes. I also am not sure that Spirit Trail Fiberworks is dyeing anymore. I kind of think she stopped dyeing last year. But this is, like I said, a really nice yarn. It came in big oversized cakes. It was 600 yards to the skein, so I have 1,200 yards, and the Weekender in my size, which I'm knitting a 48 inch for 10 inches of positive ease, calls for 1,130 yards, so I should have enough, and I may even add just maybe an inch of length to it, and I should have enough for that. So, and it's in this beautiful colorway that I think did not come with a name, but I started calling Hydrangea Blue because it reminded me of that. So, I have cast on and been working on knitting that. I apologize that I have yarn tails places, and also my yarn is very kind of ramen-like because I pulled it out of the previous sweater and caked it up, but I actually did not soak it to remove any of that. It's fine. It's a little more difficult to knit with because it is a little curly, and so it won't look as good. It really will need a blocking at the end, but the answer is that knitting it while it's ramen-like won't actually change the knit itself, because as soon as I wash it again, the wool will settle into its new memory in current stitches. So the Weekender, like I said, is a pullover by Andrea Mowry, Drea Renee Knits. It is basically knit in the round from the bottom up. It is a sweater where the reverse stockinette is actually the right side, but it is knit inside out so that you do not have to purl the whole sweater. And then in the front and the back, it just has these two sections where you are slipping stitches in a column. So it's just got some simple details. The front and back hem are split, so you knit them separately and then join in the round and then work the sweater from the bottom up. Split again at the underarms to do the upper chest, front and back, and sleeves. So this is really intended to be a roundy, do not have to think, want to read a book knit, which is exactly what I am using it for. And as you can see, I think I have about 4 inches in this past week. It will not be my focus project. That will definitely be the sample, but this is one that I am working on. So to round up, that's all I have to bring and show you this week. To speak about the other 3 knits that are currently on the needles, my Ripple crop top, or not so crop top, I am making progress on that. I did actually divide for the front and back, and I am working on the left front right now. So I hopefully will have that to show you at some point. I don't know why I got I think I just, the fingering weight sweater was going slowly, and even though it's much more seasonal, I just wanted to put another sweater. I don't know. I think I'm tempted by cozy, comforting knits right now, and that's what I find in an Aran weight, worsted weight sweater. So my Ripple crop top is still in progress. I am touching it. I have not touched the other Drea Renee Knits sweater that I was working on, which was the Faded Neve, which is the snowy one, and that one I am knitting out of Abundant Earth fiber in a DK weight in kind of a neutral colorway, and then putting baubles on it in my handspun. I have not picked that one back up yet, but I am going to make myself pick it back up after I finish the Weekender for sure. And then the final project that I have sort of in progress is I started that hat, the hard rhyme hat, by MK Nance, I think is her name. I know her as her Twitter and Ravelry name, but I think she goes by MK Nance. And that is a fingering weight colorwork hat, and I got stalled on that because the brim came out really small, and at the time I said, oh, it's no big deal, I'll just keep knitting, and if it's too small, I'll give it to Roxy. I think actually I'm going to pull the brim out and redo that so it fits me. So those are the current knits on the needles, and I will hopefully be working through those in the next several weeks and have some finishes to show you. I can't promise I won't cast on more things, and I do know once I finish the Breathe and Hope sample that I will be casting on more samples. So that is what I currently have going in knitting. We'll do a quick crochet update, and then we'll go to spinning. In crocheting, I have continued to work on my Woodland Crochet Along blanket, which is by Lucy of Attic 24. You can find that on her website or through the link in my show notes. It is a crocheted ripple afghan meant to be worked with well, technically the Woodland color pack that she developed with Wool Market, which is in the UK, and or it might be Wool Warehouse, I can't remember. I ordered a rainbow pack and have been working on a blanket for my nephew Miles, and I have also been working on it in conjunction with the 100-Day Project, which is a free project on Instagram where you basically work on the same project, craft, hobby, something for 100 days. And so I am doing a colored stripe a day, and I have had quite a bit of progress. I do not remember where I was when I last showed this to you, but I have now made, I guess, 2 full repeats. So I started in the red. Let's see if I can show this to you. It's getting big. I started in the red and worked through the rainbow through the purple, and then from the purple back out to the red again. And I'm doing the same, you know, color sequence. And then from that through the purple again. And now I'm working back out towards the red. So I am on my 5th repeat, and I have been in the greens for the last couple days. And so, like I said, I am adding to it. I am somewhat weaving my ends in as I go. So I think I last stopped right down by the blues, which means it's almost time for me to weave my ends in again. But as you can see, the first half of the blanket has all the ends woven in. This will ultimately be a twin size, enough for a twin size bed. So as you can see, it's quite wide. And at this point, I want to say I am probably maybe 4 feet long, maybe a little bit less. I haven't measured. I suspect I have 3 or 4 more repeats to go. I will just probably go till I get close to running out of yarn, and then there is a border for the blanket that I haven't looked into yet, but I'm going to do it in this garnet colorway, this dark red here. Red is my nephew's favorite color, so I tried to pick something that would have red in it. So that is where I'm at. I think my favorite parts of the blanket are the greens, blues, and purples. Something about the reds and oranges isn't quite as harmonious to me, but I love that it's a bright rainbow. And I was kind of unsure if he was going to like the rainbow, and it turns out I knit a rainbow hat technically for Roxy, but now he wears it, and he loves the rainbow hat, something fierce. So I guess rainbows are great, so he is gonna love that, I hope. My plan is to finish this one no later than June, and then I have a similar blanket. I will probably use the same pattern, but a different colorway pack to start on for Roxy. And Roxy's is peonies, which is purples, blues, greens, and kind of pinks. And her favorite colors are pink, purple, and light blue. So that was why I selected that one for her. And so far Miles has just said his favorite color is red. And I guess I could have done a full red blanket, but I wanted to do something colorful and fun for him. So I just picked something that had some reds in it. And as I said, I'll do the border in a combination of the reds so that he has lots of red. So that is my progress on that. Woo! I've got lots of things here to talk about. So quick sip of tea, and then I will talk to you about my spinning. My spinning has actually been really great. My spinning mojo has been returning, and the last couple weeks I've been working on a combo spin, which was 2 braids from Hello Yarn that I decided to put together. They were not the same fiber. One was called Tall Tales, and it was from the club in the Hello Yarn Fiber Club in 2018, and it was 70s merino. And then the other was from more recent. It was one of the clubs, I think, from February 2020, and it was Tarhi, Bamboo, Viscose, and Silk, and it was called New Season. So I'm calling this Seasonal Tales, and the colors were magentas and oranges and peaches and pinks, and it totally reminded me of summer fruits. So when all was said and done, I got right around 650 yards, which makes this probably between a sport and DK weight. It is 8 ounces of fiber, and this is what it looks like. It's got all those peachy, purpley tones in there, and also a little bit of light pink and lavender. It's really hard to see on this camera. I don't think the camera is doing it justice, but I have some really nice photos from my digital camera that I will put on Instagram. This one actually has been spoken for. Someone got in touch with me and said, I really, really like that. Can I purchase it? So I believe it is going to a forever home. If for any reason it is not, I will post it on Instagram and it will be up for grabs. But I think it's spoken for. So that is the spin that I just finished, and it's really gorgeous and I love it, and it's squishy, and oh, it's just so nice. I don't know what it's gonna grow up to be, but it's really nice. Which brings me to what I'm spinning this week. As I've told you, I have been trying to support my favorite indie dyers during this difficult time. And one of the dyers that I decided I wanted to support, because I have spun her fiber before and it is lovely, is Three Waters Farm. And they are on Etsy, threewatersfarm.etsy.com, I believe. It's not on here, but... and the colorway that I got was Marin's pencils in superwash merino and nylon, which is an 80-20 blend. So that is Three Waters Farm. And this is absolutely beautiful. It is also sort of a rainbow. And this is what it looks like. The main color is kind of purple and, well, I guess it's purpley and gray. It's really hard to hold this like this because she... kind of puts it together this way. It has greens and turquoises and pinks and oranges and like light purples, and like I said, there's that dark purple and dark gray, and it is absolutely gorgeous. I did not braid it because this is the way it came, but maybe this is, there you go. Now you can see all the different colors. So I plan to spin this one this week. I have not decided exactly how I want to spin it. My guess is, well, I just don't know. I probably won't do it long striping because I'm not that great at Navajo ply. I will probably do something fractal, or maybe I will take the bright colors and the dark colors. I have no idea. That's the answer. I have no idea. But that is what I will be spinning this week, and this one will probably be for the shop. So if these colors speak to you, let me know, or you can just wait until I am finished. So that is what will be on the wheel this week. And as I said, it's Three Waters Farm, and I was delighted to support them. You will be seeing other people that I am supporting in the coming weeks as I pull them out and spin them, because I have been very busy trying to keep my favorite indie dyers in supply and keeping myself in fiber supply. So we are at 32 minutes. I think that is going to do it for today. I hope that you are safe and healthy and that you are able to enjoy little bits of your time. I know this isn't the most wonderful time, especially for all our spirits, but we have to keep on keeping on and hope to do what is best for everyone, which is, at this point, stay home and keep ourselves occupied with craft. So I hope you have a lovely week. I appreciate you sticking in here and joining with me for this podcast. I hope you, I wish that you are crafting many lovely things. And I will say, as I always do, happy knitting, happy spinning, happy sipping, and I'll see you next time. Bye.